This lecture deals with strongly connected component. So what do you mean by a strongly connected component? So strongly connected component of a directed graph is actually a maximal subgraph in which if I take any pair of vertices in that maximal subgraph, there must be a path. So in this case I can say that this is one strongly connected component, because if I take any pair of vertices, if I take AC or CA, there exists a path. If I take AC, A to C, there is a path. If I take CA, there is a path CBA. Similarly, if I take BC, B to C, there is a path. C to B, there is a path. So that is a strongly connected component. If I take this particular subgraph, that is again a strongly connected component, because there exists a path between E and F. You can move from E to F and F to E. So strongly connected component is actually of a directed graph is actually a maximal subgraph in which there exists connectivity between any pair of vertices, or there exists path between any pair of vertices. Now if I take a directed graph, and if there exists path between every pair of vertices in that directed graph, then that graph is said to be a strongly connected graph. This graph is not a strongly connected graph, because if I take C, if I take EC, there does not exist a path. From E to C, there does not exist a path. So this graph is said to be a weakly connected one. So a directed graph in which there exists path between every pair of vertices is termed as a strongly connected graph. Otherwise the graph is said to be weakly connected. So if I take a weakly connected graph, it contains some set of strongly connected components. So as we have shown, this is one strongly connected component, this one is another strongly component, this sole vertex will act as another strongly connected component. Now how to pull out these strongly connected components in a weakly connected graph? So you can make use of DFS algorithm. So the first step is you have to execute DFS algorithm. Assume that you are starting from A. So at time t equal to 1 you are discovering A, at time t equal to 2 you are discovering C. From C you can move to B. So at time t equal to 3 you are discovering B, and at time t equal to 4 you are finishing B. So you have to arrange vertices in descending order of their finishing time. So you have, whenever you finish B, you have to add it to the list. Now backtrack to its predecessor. From C you can move to D. So at time t equal to 5 you are discovering D. At time t equal to 6 you are discovering F. At time t equal to 7 you are discovering E. At time t equal to 8 you are discovering, sorry, you are finishing E. So whenever you finish, add it to the list. Backtrack to its predecessor. So F is not having any alternate movement. So at time t equal to 9 you are finishing F. Now backtrack to its predecessor. At time t equal to 10 you are finishing D. Backtrack to its predecessor. At time t equal to 11 you are finishing C. Backtrack to its predecessor. At time t equal to 12 finish A. So this sequence is actually the arrangement of vertices in descending order of their finishing time. Now once after determining the descending order of, or obtaining the or arranging the vertices in descending order of their finishing time after performing DFS, you have to take transpose of this graph. So this graph is actually G. You have to compute G transpose. So G transpose is actually obtained by reverting the edges. So you have to invert the edges. So just invert the edges to obtain G transpose. So this will get reverted and this will get reverted. So this will be the resultant graph. So this is G transpose. Now in G transpose, call DFS based on this order. That is, you have to start DFS from A. So when you call DFS from A you can you are visiting A at first, so discovery time is 1. From here you can move to B, discovery time is 2. From here you can move to C, discovery time is 3. Now finish from here, no alternate movement, finish it. From here, no alternate movement, finish it. From here, no alternate movement, finish it. So the DFS tree obtained is A, B, C. So you have visited A, B and C. Now in this sequence you have to pick the next unvisited vertex and start DFS procedure. So next unvisited vertex is D. So from D, if you start DFS procedure, DFS visit, at time t equal to 7 you will be visiting D, and at time t equal to 8 you will be finishing D. So you will be getting another tree with a single node, that is D. So we have visited D. Now from this sequence, take the next unvisited node and call DFS visit. So you are starting from F. At time t equal to 9 you are invoking DFS visit. From here you will go to E at time t equal to 10. At time t equal to 11 you will finish E. Backtrack to its producer. At time t equal to 12 you will be finishing F. So you will be getting the tree rooted at F. F with one child, that is E. So you have completed visiting all the nodes in the sequence. Now each tree obtained will represent strongly connected component. In the sense, ABC is a strongly connected component, EF is a strongly connected component, and D is a strongly connected component. So now we can summarize the procedure. First you have to perform DFS traversal in the given graph G and arrange the vertices in descending order of their finishing time. So that operation will take cost order of V plus E. The next step is you have to transpose the graph G to obtain G transpose. So in order to transpose the graph, you have to invert all the edges. So to invert all the edges, runtime is dependent on number of edges, that is order of E. Now you have to perform DFS on G transpose to obtain the DFS forest. So that takes again cost order of V plus E. And return this DFS forest. Each tree in the forest represent a strongly connected component. So total runtime will be order of V plus E. That's it.